It was sunny earlier, but it's still really, really cold.
Yeah.
So
Well, you look beautiful.
I look like shit, but thank you.
I disagree.
That's so sweet of you to say. You look absolutely stunning.
Well, thank you. I have a call after this. I feel like a lot of people, especially people who are trying to develop their psychic abilities, get really focused on clairvoyance.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's
like the
true.
holy grail of being psychic,
Yeah.
but really it's just a part of it. And honestly, it's not always the most reliable because one, your all of your symbols are your own. So and depending on what vibration you're in that day, you could interpret them wrong or
Yeah.
right or whatever. And so really like the other like the feeling and the knowing are much more reliable. They're harder to trust, but they're more reliable.
Yeah, that's true. Is clairvoyance seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I am clairsentient, so
Oh, totally.
yeah, I feel, like emotionally and physically feel things. But
Yeah.
sometimes, like, there's
You
this,
ever hear things?
sometimes I do. Sometimes I see things as well, to be honest. I've seen things before.
Yeah.
And also, like, seen things physically, like looking at someone, but also in my mind's eye, seen the color of their aura,
Yeah.
or I've seen uh, like an image or like a something just pop in my head, like an image or something.
Yeah, like a
Um,
mind movie.
yeah, like a mind movie. Yeah, exactly that. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, it's more of a feeling in my body and emotionally. And
Yeah.
with my boyfriend, uh, we've realised that when he's just a little bit down or a little bit angry or like a lower vibration, I feel because I think because like I'm in love with him and we're close, you know,
Of course.
I feel it like he is in the worst mood, like he hates me, or and I'm like, what's wrong with you? He's
I
like, it's
know.
not that bad, but I feel that he's feeling bad and he can't hide it from me.
Oh,
And
never.
I'm like, there's no point you even trying. But I get this with other people too, and I've had to realize I have to back it up a bit because
Right.
they might not be feeling it as intensely as I feel it for them.
And or towards you that you always feel like, oh, they're mad at me, they don't like me,
Oh, it's
but
not
really
that.
what you're experiencing is just their own pain.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's something like I've definitely learnt that the hard way. Like it would have been nice to know you a few years ago. Because yeah, I've definitely learnt that the hard way. I'm just
But if you
very
hadn't, you wouldn't be able to teach it. And I feel like you can, that's something you can teach people.
yeah, just listen to those feelings and sensations. Like that is such a big part. Like that's even to be honest, this is something that I've realized more so recently because I've mentioned in our group mastermind thing. There was a guy that I think I told you this that invested in my company,
And he was really
and
mean to you.
he was really mean to me, and I had so many physical sensations at the time. Like my head hurt. Like I felt like my face couldn't smile. I was like this. I went to a meeting with this guy, and like in the car, I was like, I feel so depressed, like the worst depressed feeling I've ever felt. And I did this meeting, and it was all around this time where he was like backstabbing me and being really manipulative, and he
Right.
was very untrusting as well. Like he's got his own limiting beliefs and stuff. And I felt all these physical sensations, and I was like, why do I feel like this? I couldn't work out what it was. And then after the whole situation, when I was away from it, I realized, oh my god, that was my guidance. That was my body telling me. Um, yeah, so that was intense, and I sort of realized, okay, that is definitely what goes on with me because it's happened so many times, but I've not really um, acknowledged it as what it is. I've kind of almost been in denial on some
Mm.
levels. Like I've been like,
Well, we're taught in our society, we're taught not to trust our feelings. We're taught not to trust our intuition.
yeah,
And so we always second guess. It's a sickness
yeah,
within everybody.
so true, so true. So yeah, like only recently, only like the past summer, just gone, I've really sort of learned to trust in my feelings, which is why when that situation was happening recently, I couldn't, because I've not been well, obviously, like I couldn't feel what I was feeling, and it was really, because I've been, actually, I could speak to you about this. I've actually become quite reliant on those feelings and things, like I rely on them to guide me, and so when I couldn't feel them, I really freaked out. I mean, you saw what I was like. I was freaking. I don't know
Oh,
what's going
something
on.
just popped into my head.
Okay.
Okay, so and I've heard this before, but the angels are telling me right now. Sometimes they do that to us. They like shut off one of our senses, especially if we're depending on it really heavily,
Mm,
so that we can develop the other ones.
that's so cool. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what's just happened to me.
I
I
know.
was like, oh my God, what's going on? I can't feel what to do. Well, what are we gonna speak about today?
I don't know. What else?
um, I don't
I
know.
just love you.
I love you too so much. I'm so glad that we've met and had this opportunity because I feel like we're on a level, definitely.
What we were just talking about, like how we were talking about, the clairs and how we've been affected lately, and like, just something that makes conversations about spirituality more normal.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like society as a whole is like their kind of reaction to, at least the majority of people, conversations about spirituality, because they feel it's like it's woo woo, like it's no basis in reality. So somehow getting across that these kind of conversations are normal.
Why do you think it's become like people mistrust it so much? Because like I know that there are charlatans out there, but actually, the majority of people I come across are really genuinely caring people who do have these gifts and who are able to tap into these abilities that I know we all have. Like, I mean, you were saying it's for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, I don't understand like why people don't trust it so much because that is like the mainstream really don't. And when I've spoken to people who are not on this level, the resistance straight away, like that, oh, you don't believe in that, do you? You know, and it's
Right.
like,
You can only give people what they can digest.
mm,
Even if you're at a certain level, you have to kind of step it down a little bit sometimes in order to reach them.
yeah,
Because if you're talking up here in this 5D vibration, but they're in this 3D vibration, they're not even gonna, like, they're gonna completely resist it. They'll be offended.
yeah,
Their ego will be offended because to the ego, that kind of conversation means death.
yeah, yeah, it's
Because
true.
it would be for the ego.
Mm,
Um, but so figuring out a way to kind of bridge the gap, because as my energy healer that I work with, she talks to me when we do our sessions. She's like, has said to me before, the Ascended Master Collective is with you, but they want you to know that, within the majority of society is where we have the most to gain. And so you've got to try your best to, with the people who can talk up here, your contemporaries, great, fly off into the stars.
yeah,
But when it comes to the rest of everyone else, try to just come down to where they can understand. And I have trouble doing that.
yeah, me too. And also, this actually is the same for like the vegan message for
Right.
me. Like, whoa, sometimes the resistance I'm met with is it's hurtful, it's hurtful.
Yeah.
But and also there's sometimes where I get triggered and I react badly, and I don't move through my knee-jerk reactions into a more compassionate space. It's hard
Right.
to when you're like when you're aware of something so much, it's so much part of your life and reality, and you can see how beneficial it is, like whether this is spiritual things or veganism or whatever. It's like then you come across somebody who's just not at that level. It's so hard to remember actually it's not, they're not a horrible person, they're not
No.
aware.
They just have so many more blocks up. They just haven't done the kind of work that we've done yet. And it is hard because you get understand, I get triggered too. I get pissed sometimes because I'm just like, why are you not interested in healing? Why do you not want to seemingly not want to feel better?
Yeah.
Um, and so I've really worked on the namaste,
Yeah.
the I see the light in you. Maybe it's a little dimmer than others that I see, but that doesn't mean it's not there. And that doesn't mean that you're any less than I am. And you're ultimately they're on their own path.
Yeah.
It's just as healers, we're so driven to heal people that we don't understand why they won't let us.
Yeah, yeah. And the planet. Like for me, it's like healing people to heal the planet. For me, I can't understand why people not only don't want to heal themselves, but they don't want to like do what's best for our home. Like
Right.
that can rage me sometimes. I'm like, how can you not see the light?
Yeah.
But
It's hard. People don't have the awareness of the earth as an actual conscious being.
yeah,
That it's not just a big piece of dirt, and that was formed for no reason out of a big bang. Like it's a conscious, living, breathing, high dimensional being.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. And I guess when you've been in tune with it, when you're in tune with that, and you like for me, because I'm clairsentient, I feel it. I feel the calling. I feel it like on a visceral level, on a physical level, on an energetic level, on a cellular level, like
yeah,
on all levels. I feel this calling from the earth. And so I guess, yeah, you just have to remember not everybody else has resensitized to those things.
right.
A lot of people are eating loads of junk food, they're in jobs that they hate, they're ill, they're manifesting awful situations all the time, they're miserable in themselves because they're not living their truth, and so
Right.
and they're programmed by the media, and they're desensitized to the truth. They're desensitized to these feelings, these emotions, and the earth, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, who's to say whether that's by design? But,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I have our feelings on that. Like, our children are going to really be very powerful and very impactful in this world. And I think that if we can first awaken our generation, then the younger generations will follow suit.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this is really happening a lot now anyway, just naturally, because I feel like there's just been a new waves of like compassion energy coming to the earth. I really feel that. And I think, when it was the blood moon, I felt some serious shiz going on.
I feel, and I don't know how you feel, I actually had a lot of blocks and limiting beliefs when it came to Jesus and that Christ energy. But I've released those, and now I experience his consciousness, feel it really. And I think about when they were talking about the second coming.
Mm.
Right? But so when they think about it, it's kind of quite literal, right? Like, oh, he's going to come back in a body and he's going to look like he did and all of that. But what I feel is that when he came here before, he did squeeze all of his consciousness into one body.
Yeah.
But this time, and that's what I feel is happening, that compassion energy that you're talking about. It is the second coming, that Christ's light is coming closer to us. And so it's expressing itself in many different ways, not just in one physical incarnation. Maybe there are, like I believe in like an oversoul, and then maybe there's several different expressions of that. So if the Christ light is so high dimensional and so luminous, then surely it would have several little fragments everywhere.
Definitely.
Perhaps in a lot of people, like maybe thousands or millions of people, who knows? And that's what's happening.
I feel actually it's quite important to not necessarily specifically always call it Christ energy, because I feel like it is just compassion energy and love
Yeah.
energy. And I feel like for me personally, I was never christened, I'm not
Me
religious,
neither.
and I have never even read the Bible. I don't really know about, all I know about Jesus Christ is what I was told in school assemblies.
It's
And
unfortunate.
yeah, and for me, I feel like I just tap into like the consciousness and the energies. I don't know necessarily like whether it definitely means that that relates to Jesus Christ who was in the Bible. I don't know that, but
I don't think so because the Bible was written hundreds of years after he like had his whole thing. So I think that the Christian religion has taken a lot of liberties and has really just done a lot to control people as opposed to enlighten them. And that's very sad. And you're right, you know, it doesn't, who knows if that, you know, that's just a label. Saying Christ lied or Jesus Christ, that's a label
yeah,
for an energy that I feel.
yeah,
But you're right, and it's more than that. It's more than just that. There are things coming from the central sun, the gamma rays, and all of these things. Um, there's a lot of forces at work to try to help us through this process.
yeah, definitely. I feel that.
And we're the physical manifestation of that. I also feel that there are other forces and things that are trying to put a stop to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But I don't feel like they're gonna get very far.
No.
I don't. I'm not in this fear space. Like, I know there's so much shit going on in the world, but at the same time, I know that as things are, as systems and structures are falling, other things are being birthed, and
Yeah.
I see so much more that paradigm
Yes.
than this one. And I really, there's a lot of people in fear at the moment because, and helplessness, people feel helpless, and I just want to tell people, you don't need to feel helpless. We all have this energy of creation within us, and we are powerful, and there's no amount of like low vibe crap that will win over high vibe. Like, it just won't happen. And I
Right.
feel like, I know like technically in this current external reality there may be reason to be fearful, like people feel like there's a really good reason for that, but I just think if we can, and I'm not one of these, what's it called, where you're just always positive and love and light. I'm
Right.
not like that, but I do feel it's important to work towards the new paradigm and focus more on that and not be in this helpless fear space, because we're not going to create a shift from those vibrations, because there's the vibrations that have created the shit.
It's victimhood.
Yeah.
People feel like they're victims, and then they attract that to themselves.
Yeah.
And the dark is going to do all it can to. That's what it's doing right now. Is just rearing its head for a final hurrah. And you know, we've been through this before in Atlantis.
Yeah.
And it's different this time.
Yeah.
It's different this time. And I know that both of us were there when that happened. At least I know I was there. Maybe you haven't thought about it or
I've thought about it, but I don't have that knowing about that.
Right.
I have knowing about some other things.
But I'm with you. I have come out of the fear space, and I see that whatever is happening, may it be a chaos for some, is ultimately a blessing for this planet, and for those who choose to see it as such.
Yeah, it is a choice as well. I feel like I want to empower people to know that, to believe that, and actually come into that space rather than saying stagnant, you know, and stuck in this old way. Like, I do think for a while there's just going to be both. There's just going to be both until we progress into the preferred reality, and it's just going to take a while. It's like a knock-on effect that's happening.
That's why we're here, is to make sure that happens.
Yeah, and also I feel like this whole social media platform and this, like, doing things for YouTube and Skyping people. I mean, we live in completely different countries and we're connecting, and I just think it's just amazing. It's created so much. I know there's a lot of shit that goes on online as well, but generally speaking, I think this is brilliant because now we know the truth of things. People are creating their own media and filming what's really going on in places in the world, and the truth, there's no hiding. Like, the governments and people can't lie anymore. They can't lie, for instance, about the leading cause of global warming, which is animal agriculture. They can't lie anymore because too many people are online. Like, I feel like this is a really positive thing, and it's really important for us to create our own media so that people can see that there is positivity going on and there is a shift happening, and not get zoned into the news and feel helpless. It's so important for like highly conscious people or healers like us or whatever, who understand the truth, to actually be creating our own media and putting ourselves out there and being visible so that other people can be reassured, because there's so much fear and stuff going on. And I think,
I feel it every day.
Yeah. And
every
so
day.
I want to definitely be able to, I don't know, share this and help people to move out of that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's so I think that's really important. And then what comes up for me when I'm talking about that is that a lot of people's first reaction to conversation like that is, yeah, but people are dying, people are suffering. Are we not supposed to care? Are we not supposed to be compassionate? And so being able to speak to coming out of fear in a way that would still satisfy people's natural tendencies to be compassionate, which is completely beautiful, though somehow helping them to realize that there's a difference between being compassionate and lending your energy to a situation in a way that brings down your vibration.
Yeah, and that fuels the negative. Like, it's okay to, feel what you feel and have compassion, but don't, it's like anything. It's like, actually I was talking to someone else about this. It's like it's okay to like feel an emotion, but don't become that emotion if it's a lower vibe one. Like, it's actually more beneficial if you can like move through that to a higher vibration, because that's going to do the biggest good, if you know what I mean. Like, if you're staying stuck in these if your compassion is to the point where you're now feeling like utter shit, that's not going to help anyone. And it's not the people who have died or who've been, it's not going to help them or their people if you're going to say,
not going to bring them back to life. That's for sure.
And the best thing you can do is find ways to rise up, really, and then be that change and start creating. Because I really truly feel like for a long time, like, spiritual teachers were all about being the observer, and I really think that's great, like, to have that observing perspective, but actually we are creators. And I feel now more than ever that it's more beneficial, and I'm not saying it's not expansive to go away into the mountains and become a monk and meditate for the rest of your life on a kind of solo mission for expansion. I'm not saying that's wrong or bad.
And that helps the planet, but you know what? It doesn't help the majority.
Yeah. So,
and that's what we need to do.
Yeah. So I feel like it's important for people within society to do this work. I feel that's just as important.
And not just that, too. It's also, I feel spiritual teachers, they a lot of times are not really authentic.
Yeah.
Because they're not talking about that they go through shadows. They're not talking, they talk a little bit about, oh, I had cancer and then I healed myself. Well, I want to see that. Yeah. I want to see how you did that. I don't want to see A and Z. I want to see B through Y. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people will be able to resonate with that because it gives them hope. Because they see somebody actually going through it, actually putting the grind, the stone to the grind mill or whatever. And so saying that it's okay to, because I feel like at this stage we're still kind of awakening light workers.
Yeah.
Then that's what Charlotte talked about a little bit too, is like, we're the lighthouse, and then you turn the lights on for other people, and then they have their ripple effects, and this and that. I much more respect somebody who I can actually see that they're doing the work.
No, definitely. And
Because,
yeah.
go ahead. No,
No,
I've
no, you
spoken.
go. No, you carry on. You say.
I'm such an interrupter. I'm sorry.
You
Please,
didn't
please go ahead.
interrupt. You go.
I forgot now.
Oh. Okay, what was I gonna say? Yay! Okay, well, yeah, I'll chat to you soon anyway.
Yeah, okay. I love you.
Love you. Mwah.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye. Bye.